Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another work commute. But today is going to be a different kind of work commute because, as you can see, it's not raining. Now, it is overcast, and the sky is pretty much locked and loaded. It says it's going to start to rain in about an hour and a half, but that means that I can do my work commute the long way round. So I've started up Donnie. I have I have some errands to run before I get into work. So I'm gonna ride out of the city and then back into the city where I have business. I have already started him up for a couple of minutes. I have reinflated my tires to 2.1 on the front and 2.3 on the back. Let's get going. I've mapped out about a 55-kilometer route for myself, and it's going to be out of the city and onto the highway. It's currently been about, about 160 kilometers since the engine rebuilt. I still haven't changed my oil, but I want to get some proper heat into this oil because riding around the city I haven't seen oil temps above 83, 84 degrees Celsius, and that's not even the boiling point of water. Oil should get a lot hotter than that. So I'm gonna try to get it out on the highway and see if maybe that helps, but first I gotta get out of the city. And my area is quite crowded. Also, getting it out on the highway, I am gonna look at the RPMs because that's why I have the RPM here. It's about high time I got this thing properly sorted for long distance touring. Unfortunately, while I do love this engine for touring because it's a simple, big, air-cooled little unit, single cylinder, when it comes to speeds and gearing, the transmission isn't geared up all that great. It's great for the city, but it's definitely not great for the open road because it reaches peak horsepower RPM at something like 80 kilometers an hour, and that's just way too low. Anything above 80, you are basically over-revving the engine. Now, that doesn't mean you're in the red line. The rev limiter, I think, is somewhere around 10,000 RPM, but it makes its peak power at 7,500 RPM. So, you kind of get past that very quickly. I know somewhere around 100 kilometers an hour, I'm turning 9,000 RPM, and that's not necessarily bad for a little engine like this. But it's bad in terms of power delivery because you might try to go a little bit faster and you don't have the power for the simple fact that the engine is at the wrong RPM. Above 7,500 RPM, the engine actually starts producing less and less power than the peak one. That's why it's called the peak power. So if I wanted to tour properly, I need to get my RPMs at higher speeds lower. And in the Cannonball, I am going to be riding with Quasi. His PCX 150 is liquid cooled. It's actually a little bit faster. So I'm going to try to do a couple of things to make sure I can get a little bit more speed out of him and maintain fuel economy. Because that's the problem. That's another problem. Riding at such high RPM, you lose a lot of fuel economy with this thing. It can get up to fuel economies of 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, that's thirstier than even some 300cc scoots. It would really help if I could do something to get the RPM down. Now, I know first people are going to say, rollers. Heavier rollers. I've tried heavier rollers on my trip to Turkey. All they did was basically just to ruin my hill climbing ability. And on the Scooter Cannonball, I cannot afford to lose hill climbing ability because we're going to be crossing the Rocky Mountains, I think, a couple of times. So I need this thing to be able to climb properly. No, what I am interested in trying out is the Dr. Pulley variator. I know Quasi on the 2023 Cannonball had some problems with this variator. I am gonna play it safe. I am gonna try out the variator. I'm gonna do all my testing here. I am gonna mount it with the Drive Boss lubricated because that's what I do here, and that's what Sorin, my mechanic, taught me. And he does it to all scooters. Doesn't matter if the manufacturer says it should be lubricated with some Vaseline or not. He does it anyway. Really, seriously? Come on, dude. So he does it anyway to all his scooters. He doesn't look if the manufacturer recommends it or not. He puts some grease on the drive boss. He puts some grease on the rollers or the sliders. I've done that. I followed his instructions. I followed his suggestion, and I've always done that to my scooter. And I've never had issues with buildup of dust, of grime, of anything, because that's one thing people say. If you do that, grime will build up on your rollers, on your drive bars. Grease is gonna get on the belt, and it's gonna make it slip. No, it's not. The belt runs at such high temperatures. If you use just regular grease, then it's gonna drop. It's gonna burn off. So yeah, here we are, getting on the highway for the first time. We are currently doing 93 kilometers an hour indicated on the dash. That is about 82 kilometers real world. We are turning 7,700 RPM. So this is where this thing would be happy. 74, 7,500 RPM. This is this is peak power. And at about 82 kilometers an hour, this is where this thing is absolutely happy. But if we opened up the taps, there's not much left in it. That's the problem. And here, as soon as we got up to 103 indicated, 93 real world speed, we are turning 8,400 RPM, 82, 8,300 RPM. You'd think on the highway I would have room to go at least 100 kilometers an hour, but no. Somebody's slipping. Let's get it up to a steady 90, 91, 90, 8,400 RPM at 90 kilometers an hour. So that's the benchmark. I want to be able to do somewhere in the region of 95 to 100 kilometers an hour real world speed and be turning about 8,000 RPM. That would be absolutely perfect. But as you can see now, I am fully wide open. 94. We are currently turning almost 9,000 RPM. The engine would have enough power to go faster, but it just doesn't have, not at this RPM. I need to be at a lower RPM for it to have power to go faster than 95, 96 kilometers an hour. That's about its top speed going on the flat. And truck, don't squeeze me because I cannot change lanes. I have a car to my left. Well, finally my oil temp is getting up, 95 degrees on the oil temp. Back on the road with Donnie. You know, it's been a while since I've been out on the open road with this little guy. Let's get my GPS on because I don't want to get lost. It's been quite some time since I've been out on the open road and viewing a highway on this little machine. Let's get the cruise control back on. There we go. You know, I miss it. I miss riding Donnie long distance. Even though I have my Zondas, I have the GS, I have the ADX 125. There's something, for me personally, there's something about this little thing. This little scoot with its little air-cooled engine has gotten me so many places, and like I've always said, infinitely rebuildable. After one of the bearings, one of the crankshaft bearings kicked the can, it was no issue, just rebuild the entire engine. Parts weren't expensive, and now I have a brand new engine that's seen oil temps of 100 degrees Celsius for the first time. But yeah, the engine seems to be running smoothly. I am going to change the oil in about 200 kilometers, do the first oil change, and then about 1,000 kilometers do another oil change. But before I do my first oil change, I wanted to heat cycle the engine at least. And in the city, you don't have room to heat cycle. And it's the winter. Currently, it's 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. That's basically freezing point. So it's very hard in temperatures like this to get some heat into an air-cooled engine because I'm currently turning 8,000 RPM, so the fan on the side is blowing ice-cold air at 8,000 RPM fan speed onto that engine to cool it off. Usually in the summer I can see this number going to 130, 140 degrees. I am gonna monitor in the summer because I have switched to fully synthetic oil, and that has a flash point of 228 degrees. So if I go above 228 degrees of oil temperature, it's basically like riding without any kind of oil in the engine. But I haven't seen temps as high as 150, 160. So I haven't seen anything over 160 degrees. Anytime I look, no matter how hot it was outside, how hard I rode it, I've never seen temps above 160 degrees. So we should be fine, but hopefully I can get some hot weather testing in. I don't know where I'm gonna do that because I plan to ship him out, I think about late April. He should be on a container because transit is going to take about a month and a half. But I am going to do my best to try to get him as hot as possible and test out the oil temps, the cooling, and see if this fully synthetic oil. Motul does recommend this oil, the Scooter Power Oil 5W40 for this Scoot. So Motul says it's okay. It also recommends it for the other air-cooled scooters from SYM, so it should be okay. But we're gonna have to test it out. Currently 106 Celsius on the oil temp, looking good. Scoot is running fine. It's making the power it should be making. And we're gonna get off the highway now, go on a couple of back roads. But yeah, finally some temp in this thing. Also, I want to change the gear oil because SYM recommends 85W140. And honestly, for these kinds of temps, it's way too thick. Every time I leave home, I feel like one of my brakes is stuck on. And I changed the Zontes also from 85W140 because that's what we had in the showroom when I did my first service on him. And I switched him to Motul HD 80W90. And he runs so smoothly now. And I'm curious to try this thing out on 80W90. Again, Motul recommends it for this thing. Even though SYM recommends 85W140, Motul says 80W90 will work just fine in this Scoot. So yeah, I'm gonna try it out. The transmission doesn't get all that hot anyway, so basically this gear oil that we use is basically transmission oil, differential gear oil. Those things get a lot hotter than the couple of tooth wheels that we have in a scooter transmission. So a lot less stress in a scooter transmission. So I'm not too worried. If you ask my mechanics, you can put cooking oil inside it, and it will be fine. Any kind of oil will be fine. I've seen people run transmissions on scooters without any oil for thousands of kilometers, and yet they're still fine. They just need some sort of lubrication there to make the gears not chew themselves up. So yeah, I'm gonna switch to 80W90 because I think 85W140 is just too thick, especially in the winter time. I cannot get any heat in the transmission. I can barely get some heat in the engine. I can't get any heat in transmission, and it's basically eating my fuel economy. A lot of things are not good. Let's see my... Whoa, rear tires up to 16 degrees. Now this is normal. The front tire is still at 4 degrees Celsius in terms of temperature, so I know there is no way in hell I can get heat into the front tire. It's so light on the front, this thing, and there's no way I can get heat in the tire. Do I still have that head shake? Yep, there it is. Now I have recently discovered that I don't only have a very worn front tire, I also have neck bearings that need to be changed. One of the bearings has made a groove, and if you lift the front end of the scooter up and you move the handlebar, you can find a groove right in the middle. But it's par for the course with almost 50,000 kilometers, so I think the front tire being quite old and has quite a lot of kilometers on it, and the neck bearings having a groove is really not helping my head shake. I'm gonna do them both together, and probably in the spring. For now, I'm gonna ride like this because if I have both hands on the handlebar, it's fine. And as some of you have pointed out, I should keep both hands on the handlebar. But yeah, we're off the highway onto some back roads. I'm gonna do another stint on the highway and see. As soon as it was 108 C. It was 108 degrees Celsius when I got off the highway because I ran at speed. As soon as I got the highway, did a couple of turns, slowed down a little bit, it went to 102. So it's so hard to keep heat in this engine. Quite ironic, as many people were saying that they're afraid of air-cooled engines because they cannot cool themselves. Well, and yes, I know if you ride a liquid-cooled bike, seeing 102, 108 degrees, that's getting very hot and almost boiling the cooling fluid. But on an air-cooled engine, anything below 200 C is normal. Or actually, not necessarily 200 C, but if you are no higher than 150 degrees, then yeah, it's perfectly normal. The engine is fine, and I mean oil temp. These engines do not have any fluid to boil, so they're happy at 120, 130, 140. They don't have any fluid to boil, so yeah, you needn't worry. And as you can see, I'm currently struggling to get some heat into this engine so I can properly heat cycle the engine, so I can bed in all the bearings and the piston rings and the cylinder and everything. And yeah, it's not helping. Outside temperatures are definitely not helping. I need a proper warm day to get it up to 120, 130. I would have loved to see 130 degrees at some point, but even if I leave it on the center stand idling, it will not go above 70 degrees Celsius. Now, in case some people were worried that I took this engine after just 100 and a couple of kilometers after its full rebuild and while still in its braking period, I took it on the highway and went full throttle for at least a minute or two, don't worry. That's how you're supposed to brake in an engine. As you can see, I went on the highway, I got my temp up to 108 C. Now I am riding a little bit slower, temp is down to 92 degrees C. I am heat cycling the engine. That's what you're supposed to do in a braking period. A braking period means riding balanced, which means riding slow and riding fast. A combination of the two, so the engine goes through a lot of heat ranges but doesn't sit necessarily constantly at one single heat range. It's very bad for it to sit at one single heat range during the braking period, be it that high temps or low temps. So even riding very slowly and gently for the entire duration of the braking period is a bad thing. It's not a good thing. This is how you're supposed to ride them. This is how you're supposed to brake in an engine. You have to show it a little bit of everything, and then it's ready for a long life of taking you all over places you wish to visit. You know, it's such a shame that it's winter time. After not riding him for 3 months, now I'm desperate to get out on the road, but it's so bloody cold. It's just not enjoyable to ride anything longer than an hour or two. Ow. Damn it! Romania roads are still Romania roads. So yeah, like I was saying, it's just not that enjoyable to ride more than an hour or two. But at least I can do some of these longer work commutes and have some fun with them, and also help with the braking period to get it done quicker so I can ride them properly. But yeah, I miss road tripping him. I still have some work to do. I want to do a couple of tweaks here and there. I want to change up the setup here. Inoff has sent me a new unit with basically a third eye and cameras integrated. So it should mount the camera up here. I should clean up this part. I should cut my big windshield, my big Jiffy windshield, because this was just a temporary windshield to see if I like a medium height windshield, and I decided I do. Also, I need to change the top case on the back. I want to go for a little bit of a bigger top case than this Schott SH33. I am going for the SH40 Cargo because I like that for a couple of reasons, and one of them is being the fact that you don't have to lock the top case. And when you're out on the open road, stopping to grab a bite to eat, you might have food, you might have drinks in the top case. And every time I turn off the scoot, open the top case, close the top case, turn back on the scoot, because on this top case I have to take the key out. That thing, the shot SH40, let's quickly jump it. The SH40 has the ability to pull out the key in the unlocked mode. So during the daytime, I can keep it unlocked and have access to it, because sometimes usually I get on the scoot, I turn on the engine, and I was like, oh damn, I forgot something. I wanted something from inside the top case. I wanted, I don't know, a drink, and I have to turn off the engine again, unlock the top case, open it up, take my drink, lock it back up, turn on the engine back on. With that thing, the SH40 Cargo, you can leave it unlocked, and if you forget that, just leave the engine running and take whatever you need out of the top case, close it back up. It also has a rack on top of it, so I can mount my tent and everything, because on the Cannonball I am going to be camping. So there's a lot of stuff it still needs to be done. Also, I need to do the front end, do the fork bearings, change the tires, change the brake disc on the back, because that's still original and it's quite worn. I am going to keep it for a little while longer, but I am going to change it fairly soon. So a lot of work still needs to be done, but I want to ride. I don't want to work, I want to ride. On the other hand, it's good that I have a lot of work to do to it, because yeah, riding very long distances is really not an option right now with these temperatures. But yeah, at least I can do a couple of things to work on it a little bit and have a bit of fun. Come on, open the taps. Back on a brand new highway section. This is basically going to be the highway that's going to act as the ring road of Bucharest. There's sections of it built, and this one opened up only a couple of days ago. And yeah, I wanted to see how it is. Come on, let's ride a new section of highway. Here we go, nice and easy. We're gonna go remove stop. I always like riding on new roads that haven't existed before, that I never knew of them. And why is this van so bloody slow? It's a highwayman! Is he gonna pull to the right or not? I thought he would have pulled to the right, and then he came back, and I can't see in front, okay, because of him. So I didn't know what he was seeing. I don't know why he pulled to the right. Probably was on his phone. Don't think he was making room for me. I think he was on his phone. Yeah, come on, there. Get Donnie up to some speed again. Temp is holding at 95, going 100 plus indicated. Now, as you know, cut another 10 kilometers off of that to get real world speed, but I'm gonna go with indicated because it's much more, I like it more. So yeah, about 8,000 RPM at 100 kilometers indicated, 8,400. And if we open it up, it's currently a bit of an uphill. It's struggling to gain speed, and it should have power to go faster. 105, 8,800 RPM, a bit of a downhill. Come on, can we get it up to 110? 9,000 RPM at 107, 9,000 RPM at 107. Yeah, I'm not gonna go above 9,000 RPM. Let's back it off, get it down to about 90, 100. Get it back to about 8,000 RPM. This is where it's happy, 8,000 RPM, but we're only doing 96 kilometers an hour. That's not good. I don't like that. I want to do at least 10 or 15 kilometers an hour more at that RPM. So yeah, I'm gonna try the Dr. Pulley variator. I'm gonna order one. I am gonna go with just one set of rollers for my first order, the 15 gram ones. Stock rollers on this thing is 14.5. They don't have 14.5, they have only 15s and 14s. I'm gonna go with the 15s because I'm looking for more of a touring build. but also I am going to be checking the RPM at which the Scoot launches and at which the Scoot accelerates. Because to be perfectly honest, I do not want to lose the ability to climb hills, because I have to keep up with Quasi's PCX 150. And even though he also did a couple of mods, as far as I know, he told me he's switching back to the standard transmission for this Cannonball. And with the standard transmission, that thing is 150cc liquid cooled. It should have a lot more oomph than this thing has. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I really want to keep my climbing ability intact so I can keep up with him, because I don't want to be like the slow guy of the group. Like for 2-3 weeks while we're going to be riding, it's going to be a constant of wait for Alex to catch up, wait for Alex to catch up, wait for Alex to catch up. That's kind of what it was when I went with Marius in Turkey, because he had the NHT 200 with 18 horsepower and he was much faster than me on the open road. And every time he would go up ahead, wait for me, go up ahead, wait for me. When it was late in the evening, usually he would say something like, come on, hurry up, let's get there, let's stop doing fuel economy and stuff like that, and let's get there. And I was like, dude, I'm wide open, I'm fully wide open. Climbing ability was shit because I had 18 gram rollers, I could barely climb hills, and the top speed wasn't any different. So yeah, on the Turkey trip, big mistake not going with the standard rollers and going with the 18 gram rollers. But now I'm going to try the Dr. Pulley variator, and I'm going to do proper testing to see if it actually works, gives me more top end, but also maintains my climbing ability intact. That's what I want to know. If it affects my climbing ability, I'm probably going to switch back to the OEM variator. I am also going to take an OEM variator with me just in case. But yeah, I want to see if I can maybe make it a little bit more sprightly on the open road, because as it sits, it has power, but it could go just a little bit faster. Now I have to be careful here, because I have to pull off, and I've never pulled off at this intersection because I've never ridden this highway before. Like I said, brand new highway. So yeah, it should be, this is A3, the highway that takes you up to the mountains, but we're going to use it to get back into the city. There we go. Signal, get off. This is what I'm saying about oil too thick in the transmission. We're going downhill and I'm just off the throttle, no brakes. And look at how the speed is dropping. I need thinner oil, because this is, one, it's eating power, and two, it's eating fuel economy. And since I am here, I'm gonna try something out. Let's get it down to 50. Okay, maintain 50. Full gas. Engine is holding 6,800 RPM while accelerating. 6,800 RPM while accelerating. Okay. Duly noted. So with the Dr. Pulley variator, I am looking for 6,800 RPM while accelerating. I will accept anything as low as 6,000, because maximum torque on this engine is 6,500 RPM. But if we slow it down again, so 50, full gas, 67, 68, 69, 68, 6,800 RPM, merging. Now above 80 kilometers an hour, we're starting to climb in the RPM range. So 6,800 RPM all the way up to 80 kilometers an hour indicated. That's what I'm looking for with the new variator. I am going to have to do testing with the rollers, but I am going to order just 15 grams on the first try. Actually, I might order, I don't know, 13s and 14s also. I don't know. Might do that. It depends how expensive shipping is. But yeah, after Christmas, I'm going to gift Donnie a Dr. Pulley variator, and we can test out if it's really true. I've seen some videos on YouTube of scooters like this going 120 kilometers an hour with Dr. Pulley variators. And as you can see, I am fully wide open, tucked a little bit, 104, wide open, 105, 9,000 RPM. 106. The engine just doesn't have power at this kind of RPM. So yeah, although it could have power at 8,000 RPM, at 9,000 it's lacking the power to go any faster. You have to balance it out. If I get it to 110 kilometers an hour and it will be turning 7,500 RPM, it could go even faster, because at that RPM you have your full 12.5 horsepower and 13 newton meters of torque to try to push you forward as fast as possible. But at 9,000 RPM, basically I'm trying to accelerate with an engine that's probably putting out less than 10 horsepower at 9,000 RPM. So yeah, it's never gonna work. I need to do something about the gearing, or be satisfied riding at 90 k's on the wide open road. But this thing can be faster and more economical at the same time. There's a thing with these scoots that many people don't know. I've seen a lot of people asking me about 125 and 200cc scooters. Do they have a limiter? Are they limited in any way? They are not. They don't have necessarily an electronic limiter. But in some countries in the EU, you can ride scooters like this, or 125cc versions, and in some countries even more than 125, something like my Donnie. Some countries don't have a limit of engine size, just limit of power. And Donnie, in terms of power, even though it's 169cc, would definitely fit in the category of A1 licenses. So in some countries, you can ride even 200cc scooters like this one on a regular car driver's license. But most countries have a requirement that the scooter can't go any faster than 99 kilometers an hour. And if you look at SYMS, if you look at their technical data, all of their small scooters have a rated top speed of 99 kilometers an hour. Now, trust me on this one, there is no electronic limiter, but they limit it mechanically like this. They put a variator that has a range so low that you basically can't go above 99 kilometers an hour, because it would hit either the rev limiter, or you just don't have enough power to go any faster. Change the range of the variator and this thing can't go faster. Because how I know that? The ADX 125 has a bigger overrange variator in it, straight from the factory, and guess what? It's a lot faster than this thing and has a little bit less power. So that thing is faster, more fuel efficient, with less power. Now the math doesn't add up, so yeah, I'm gonna start exploring. I still have a couple of months until I have to put him on a container. I am gonna start exploring the possibilities of doing something to this variator, or swapping the variator for something with a little bit more range, so I can get some better gear ratios for on the highway. Now we exited one highway and we're back on the old ring road of Bucharest. I'm almost at my destination, 5.6 kilometers left, 7 minutes to go. Let's punch it, merge. Come on, BMW. Why are people so slow? Now he speeds up. After he slowed me down, now he speeds up. So let's get up to speed again. You know, I used to work at Fan Courier. You can see their main offices right there. When I say I was a courier for 7 years in Bucharest and 2 years of Glovo on a scooter, I was a courier at this company, at Fan Courier. 7 years, 6 years a courier, about 1.5 years as a team leader. Good times, good times. But yeah, now I'm doing other things. I'm on two wheels, I'm riding bikes, I'm riding scooters, and I am planning a trip to the Cannonball. Those kinds of things would have never happened if I kept working at Fan Courier. So although it was a good time in my life working there, I made some good money, it was time to move on to a new chapter. And boy, what an adventure it has been. And I have all of you guys to thank for watching all of these videos and coming along with me on all my rides. Check this thing out. Nice. You know, let's give him some room to exit. No? We're gonna have to exit here. Only 3 kilometers left. So yeah, like I said, this wild trip is made possible by you guys, and I always say stuff like this at the end of these videos, because if you've made it to this part of the video, very few people, only about 20 or 30% make it to the actual end of the video. So yeah, you guys are the true OGs here. For you guys, I make the content. The people that actually watch it from beginning to end, because that's how you get the idea. That's how you follow my journey. The whole point of this channel is documented my journey on 2 wheels, and that's how you get to follow my journey, is watching the videos all the way. I try to cut out as much of the bullshit as I can. I don't put out a lot of videos, usually 1 or 2 a week. If I put out more videos, they're usually shorter, but in terms of riding videos, like longer, this video is probably going to be a long one. It's probably going to be an hour, not an hour, probably like 30-35 minutes long. But yeah, if you watched it all the way to the end, you guys are my best subscribers, my most loyal of fans, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for following me on this journey, supporting this channel, liking the videos, sharing, because I'm pretty sure most of my likes come from the people that watch all the way to the end. Come on, come on. Come on. Naughty. Oh, come on. Move, damn it. With a truck behind me, he brake checks me and then turns left. What the hell? But yeah, only you guys get to see some of the naughty sides. I usually leave those for the end of the video. And also, in case you're wondering, my errand for this morning is actually to go to the school where the little one is learning, because she has her Christmas play to put on this morning. And yeah, I'm skipping work for a couple of hours to go watch her play, because family is definitely more important than work. And with Christmas approaching, I urge every last one of you to take care of your loved ones. Spend some time with them, a little bit more time than you usually spend with them. Enjoy life. Start putting work aside. And on that note, probably until January, videos on this channel might be a little bit irregular, because I'm gonna film whenever I have time, and I'm gonna edit whenever I have time. But a priority for me is gonna be family life for the next couple of weeks. I'm still gonna put out videos, don't worry, but they might not be as many as you've been used to. But I think you can understand. In this period, I would also urge you guys to spend a little bit less time on YouTube and a little bit more time with your families. And we're almost there, 600 meters. Play starts at 10 o'clock. It's 20 minutes to 10, so I have plenty of time. Early as usual. I like to get everywhere a little bit early. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little morning ride and this Donnie being properly back out on the highway, riding at high speed. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for the support. Thank you for liking and watching these videos and sharing them with their friends and subscribing, and some of you for becoming members of the channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until next time, take care out there, everyone, and ride safe. Bye.